Wait a sec, you're telling me pelvic floor therapists check where? Yes, sometimes a comprehensive pelvic floor evaluation may include a rectal assessment, and there is a very important reason for this. Because your pelvic floor doesn't stop at the vaginal entrance. The pelvic floor is a complex group of muscles and connective tissues that work together. They would support your bladder, your organs, tailbone, hips, and some of the deeper pelvic floor muscles can be assessed through the rectum. So why would we need to look there? Because restrictions, tension, any tenderness, issues with coordination, and changes in the deeper tissues may be connected to symptoms like constipation or difficulty emptying your bowels, tailbone, coccyx pain, pelvic pain or pressure, pain when sitting, feeling like you can't empty well enough, bladder symptoms that persist, that haven't responded to the way you might have expected them to. Rectal floor assessment just gives us so much more information that we may not fully appreciate through a vaginal assessment alone. And no, this does not mean everyone coming to pelvic floor therapy is going to need follow-up rectal treatments. But an internal pelvic floor assessment really should have a clinical reason behind it. It should be explained to you beforehand, and it should only happen with that informed consent by you. If the thought of a rectal assessment makes you cringe and nervous or embarrassed, it's understandable. But pelvic floor therapists who are specifically trained in this type of assessment understand this can be very vulnerable, and you could, obviously feel nervous, but knowing what it's going to entail ahead of time makes it so much more easy to relax into. This is also why who you trust with your pelvic floor really does matter and make a difference. Not every pelvic floor clinician evaluates the same way. I recommend finding a provider that specializes in pelvic health. They look beyond one muscle, one symptom. They can make a difference, especially when you've already tried the cookie cutter approaches that may have not already yielded in lasting relief. Because if pelvic floor problems were always as simple as just relax your muscles or do some stretches or do some Kegels, far fewer people would be struggling for months and even years and decades later. So sometimes the missing piece is understanding what hasn't been assessed yet. If you are still dealing with pelvic pain, constipation, tailbone pain, difficulty emptying, or bladder symptoms, a more comprehensive pelvic floor evaluation can help uncover pieces of the puzzle that have probably been overlooked. Your symptoms deserve so much more than assumptions and quick fixes. They deserve a thorough evaluation that comes back to a true root cause of why they're there in the first place. So, hope this helps.